I came to bring the pain. I don't know. Anyway, I'm so geeked, right? I'm excited because Ghostface Killer is going to be making a special appearance in Ghost Rider as the nemesis of Johnny Blaze, which makes total sense when you think about it. Yeah. So, also, we have a very special guest by the name of Scott Pilgrim on the set today. So I'm just geeked in like levels and levels. So I can't even introduce people. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And Scott Pilgrim, a.k.a. Jordan, is going to tell you about his thesis. Because he's 23, and yeah, that also makes sense. So let's get started.
Hi, I'm Bryan Lyles. I'm also the host of Fantasy Sports News and World Report, where I feature the Fantasy Sports World Girl of the Month, which I hope Miss Sherin here would lovely take cover of.
My name's Jordan, I'm also known as Scott Pilgrim, and I just graduated from American University, where I wrote my thesis on Captain America, exploring Cap's role in propaganda in the 40s. And I also am the manager of Phantom Comics in Washington, D.C.
Well said, well put. My name is Mark Leeke. I'm the resident geek of DC TV and a non-fan of Wu-Tang. Whatever you call it. A non-fan.
That's an oxymoron. Non and Wu-Tang don't even, there's no non.
Just give them 9 chambers and call them today.
9, not 9.
9.
Oh. And on that note, we're going to say goodbye.
It was a good run.
You know, I just can't work in these conditions. But, you know, the reason the energy is so high is because we get to talk about summer movies.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay! And there was too much Iron Man to be contained in one episode. So we can start there or we can start elsewhere, but I mean, Jon Favreau is king. So
Any movie that gets my dad to call me and tell me what a great movie Iron Man was is like mission accomplished.
what was his favorite part?
I mean, my dad, I don't think he like knew who Iron Man was. He's always been a Superman guy, and he just called. And he was like, "This is great. It was great." And I told him like he wanted to know more, and I told him, you know, Tony Stark becomes an alcoholic in the next one. He's like, "Really? I didn't. Why does that happen?" I'm like, "Dad, he drank the whole movie. I mean, he had started with the drink and it ended with the drink, and he gave the army drinks.
Yes.
The guy's a booze hound.
He's the true eminent of a perfect alcoholic. But it's unfortunately like I think the movie just slowly showed him being there. I think hopefully everyone knows there will be a sequel.
Right.
It's all set up for it, and I just
War
think,
Machine.
oh yes, and getting to the point where we will see him. Maybe, you know, just seeing that image of him being depressed, or let alone having the alcohol just totally consume him to where it makes him conflicting of, will he remain Iron Man? Will he try to be Tony Stark the billionaire, or be Tony Stark the drunk? So it'll be really interesting to see how that character develops, you know, through this series.
And to see what shoes Gwyneth's going to be wearing.
Who cares about that?
Well, you haven't even seen Iron Man. You don't get to talk for like 5 minutes time out.
Oh, please, no. Here's the thing, but, you know, here's my 2 cents. With the actor playing Tony Stark.
Oh, perfect.
And the direction that they're going to, it's not too much of a stretch for this guy to have to act. He is perfect for this role.
Yeah,
Pretty
no
much.
doubt. He was fantastic.
Robert Downey
and hilarious.
Robert Downey Jr., I felt like seeing Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was a good movie for him. You know, I was kind of surprised how funny that was. And then seeing him, you know, you're usually a lot of movies, especially like comic book movies, where you figure it's like, can you picture this person to be this person? The one person I always had conflicting with especially was Batman, was Michael Keaton when he first did it. And I kept thinking to myself, I just can't see it. Maybe he's a good Bruce Wayne, but I don't know about Batman. After I saw it, perfect. I mean, it's like, that's the guy you wanted to be as Batman.
Iron Man was going to have to hit you with that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah, Iron Man is the same thing. Robert Downey Jr. came in there, and it's like, he's your guy. I mean, he's a perfect, you know, recovering alcoholic, let alone he could be perfect when he is an alcoholic. It's like, let me remember back in, let's see, 85, I was drunk. Yeah, I can play that part.
He's got 85.
He goes that far back.
He's got a lot of great swagger, but let's not focus on Iron Man. Let's continue to go Marvel, because, you know, as much as I'm a DC fan and a Vertigo fan, and I mean everybody, well, not everybody, but the people here know that. Marvel really, since they've taken over their properties, well, there's only been one movie, but it's so good. I feel like it's been a long time. But even with Spider-Man, they seem to understand how to translate their characters onto the big screen better than DC does. Is that an overstatement? Or?
Well, one thing about the majority of the Marvel characters is, for me, it's easier to relate to the Marvel characters, and I think that they're more human. Why are you picking up the camera?
I just like to hold it.
It's just, I mean,
it's
women with a weapon.
They actually have human flaws, and the characters appear to be more closer to realistic versus DC, where it just seems to be you're either good or you're bad. You know?
Well, it's not.
Where's the shrooms? I would like one.
Well, it's not just that. I also think you got to put in a sense of the whole depth of you strictly, let's say, take Bruce Wayne. He's highly privileged and all that stuff, but granted his parents died. Superman, his planet died. He's an orphan, but then again, people raised him. Normal people raised him. Basically, you have a strict package of what this person is, and pretty much it's difficult, even in let's say, even comic book writing, it's kind of difficult for them to expand that role or trying to get out of that role and try to develop them. Where in Marvel, you can really sense some different make it be able to stretch their character a little bit.
Veto! Now, Hulk.
Hulk scares me because from the trailers, it looks just like the last movie, and it's a lot of roaring and a lot of smashing. And I like that the Marvel stories are sticking to the Ultimate Universe because it's easily the most relatable to people who just haven't read comic books, and that's what they're trying to go for. But it just, I mean,
I don't know. I think the more the trailers that you see, the better it looks.
Right.
I like Ed Norton. Ed Norton. I like him. He makes good choices. Tim Roth is amazing. He makes really good choices. So I kind of am leaning towards maybe it might be okay. Now, I went into Iron Man with no expectations,
After Spider-Man,
so I'm going into Hulk with no expectation.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they might make us happy. You were saying something about that.
I was saying that first of all, before the last set of trailers came out, I was like, no. That was a wait for DVD, I'll see you at Christmas movie. And it's like, oh no, okay, the trailers look real good. I mean, they look like they're really touching on who is Bruce Banner.
But we also have to sense, the trailers can do one thing, the movie can do another. Granted, let's say here's another summer movie that's kind of piquing me. Surprisingly enough, Hancock is looking very interesting.
It's Superman if he was angry.
Right. Just seeing Will Smith in that state and making him be a superhero, and especially the perfect trailer, him throwing the beach whale, is just still hilarious.
It's like Hancock. It's not just angry, but a superhero who's just burnt out,
right?
Yeah, it's
so
great.
to speak. And for Will Smith, I'm sorry, he needed to do a role like this.
Yeah, if the script holds up to the premise, and we know in Hollywood oftentimes the script does not hold up to the premise,
Right.
but if it remotely gets there, it'll be a lot of fun.
But let's be honest here. It'll be all wiped out until July 16th. The Dark Knight comes in.
True.
I know, Sherin, girl. I know you have the goosebumps are kicking in right now, but trust me.
Maybe I need counseling.
Issues.
I have massive issues. I think I do need counseling. Is there someone here to help me? I think what we're gonna do is take a break right now and find me some counseling. And I hope to be back.
All right, well, I just wrapped up here at Victory Comics in Falls Church, Virginia, but Ulysses Campbell is out on the field also on Free Comic Book Day, so let's check in with him and see what he's doing. Uli, where you at? What you doing?
Thanks a lot, Estella. I'm here at Pentagon City Mall at Phantom Comics, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on today. They've got I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to go and get involved in some stuff. All right, and now I'm here with Matt Clokel, who is the owner of Phantom Comics. And of course, Phantom has a store here in Pentagon City, where we are, and also another store in beautiful historic Union Station. So, welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me on, Ulysses.
Oh, it's a pleasure. In fact, we got to get you on in the studio.
I would love to come. I haven't been invited yet. I know you have my more attractive and interesting employees doing it, so I'm fine to just sit back and watch the show.
Please, please. It's just your availability has been somewhat problematic, but we're going to rectify that real soon. I tell you what, I've been real impressed with all the stuff that you've done for Free Comic Book Day today. I mean, this is fabulous. It looks like you pulled out the stops here at Pentagon City. Tell us about it.
Well, a lot of it we have to thank the support of the mall. The mall got behind us completely. I mean, you can't have 12 stormtroopers and Jawas and rebel fighters and TIE fighters walk through a mall if the mall is not approving it. So the mall was great and very helpful and gave us the space. So yeah, we had lots of costume characters come. Total pros. They're the 501st Legion and the Rebel Legion. So these aren't amateurs. Well, I guess technically they're amateurs, but you know, they're the guys. And we had Mike O'Sullivan come, who's a Marvel editor and teaches sequential art, and he took us all through comic book classes, and he took people as they came and just set them up, and people had a great time. And there were all the free comics, of course, and we put a bunch of $1 comics out there. You know, it's mostly an educational day. I mean, it really isn't about the money on that particular day. It's having somebody walk into a comic book store and read a comic who never did before, and like, yeah, we got you. You know?
Well, you've seen a little bit about what's happening here. Let's find out what's going on over at Union Station. Devon?
Thanks, Julie. Here we are at Phantom Comics Union Station on Free Comic Book Day, and anticipation's been pretty high. We've been moving a lot of product. This is basically like the comic book retailer's Super Bowl, basically. We've been moving a lot of things. We've been seeing a lot of new faces. It's just a really good day to be a comic book fan. Back to you, Yuli.
Thanks, Devon. It looks like we've got a lot more happening over here, but it's still a great day for the comics industry and for comics fans at large. Let's see what other kind of trouble I can get into here. We're here at the Baltimore Comic Convention talking to veteran artist Bob McLeod. Thanks for joining us, Mr. McLeod.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing all right. You know, I've been an admirer of your work for many, many years, and you've drawn, I think, probably just about everybody out there, haven't you?
Pretty much every character I can think of, yeah.
Do you have a favorite character that you've worked on?
I always enjoyed working on Spider-Man, because he's not stiff up and down, you know, he gets into these weird poses, so he's fun to draw.
What are you working on currently?
I'm kind of drifting out of comics. I'm getting more into children's books. Really? I'm just written and drawn my first children's book, Superhero ABC.
Okay, that's fabulous. Tell us a little bit about that.
I made up all my own original superheroes, one for each letter of the alphabet, and I made a little alliterative phrase with each character to teach the letter. Put some little humorous asides in them, and did it all myself. Writing, pencils, inks, colors, so it was much more fun for me than working in comics where you just do one little step at a time, you know, either the inker or the penciler.
How'd you get the idea to work on the children's book?
My wife has been bugging me to do children's books for 20 years, and I really have always wanted to do one. I've just been busy on other things. So the time seemed right, and she actually came up with the idea for the book, and I said, that's too good an idea to turn to miss, so I better do it before somebody else does it.
You're a good husband. That's a nice collaborative effort.
It's very nice. Yeah.
So I take it you're planning on doing other children's work now?
Yeah, my interest right now is really much more in that area. I've been working for 30 years in comics doing black and white stuff. It's hard to get color and black and white yourself, so I'd like to do some more color work, so I've got some private paintings I'm doing, and I want to do some more children's books where I can do the color and everything myself.
Back when you were doing comics, did you have a particular inker who you felt, I guess, did your style better than some of the others?
Well, that was part of the problem. I never really found an inker I was happy with. I always preferred to ink myself. When I worked with other inkers, they would change subtle things, not even deliberately. Sometimes just subconsciously they've changed things where it just didn't bring out what I was hoping to bring out. So I never felt that I meshed that well with other inkers.
Well, you know, and comics can be a kind of brutal business anyway. I mean, just, you know, meeting the deadlines. In fact, that's one of the things I've been most disappointed by. You know, because artists like yourself always met the deadlines. The book was always out on time. Now, oh, absolutely.
Well, that was the thing I hated the most about the business, though, was the deadlines. On the New Mutants that I'm best known for, graphic novel, I had to work through my honeymoon on that to meet that deadline.
Oh, no.
I had a month-long honeymoon, so it was okay. But I rush, you know, most of my career. And it really, you never have time to do your best work. You just try to do your best work in a certain amount of time.
I understand. Would you have any advice to younger artists who are trying to break into the business?
Go into another business. This is a tough business, you know. Comics are not a business I would recommend to someone. You can make a lot of money, you can be rich and famous, it can be a lot of fun, but there's no retirement, there's no benefits, you know, there's no paid vacations, health insurance. It's really not, it's more of a young man's business and a kind of a thing I think you should look at as a temporary thing, not a career. So I'd really recommend something else, but if you're determined to work in comics, just study the work that's being done, study the other artist. I think the fastest way to learn is to try to imitate another artist, but because you're who you are, you're going to end up, your style will come through.
We get a lot of letters and emails from you, the viewers, and we've gotten so many that I felt it was appropriate to at least begin reading some of these. So, the Fantastic Forum mailbag. Our letter today comes from Mrs. Sarah Kelly of Montgomery County, who has been watching on Access Montgomery. Thanks very much. In fact, she and her husband Mark watch. Dear Ulysses, Mark just got the autographed picture of Sherin on Friday, and boy was he happy. He hung it up on the living room wall. Thank you again for helping me make his wish come true. I would like to thank Sherin as well and all of the people who made this possible. I have told him to leave a comment about the show, but as he is somewhat of a procrastinator, I do not know when he will do so. I cannot thank you enough. Sincerely, Sarah C. Kelly. Well, I thank you, Sarah. Without viewers like you and Mark, there would be no show. And I want to encourage everybody else to keep writing in. And if you want an autographed picture of Sherin, just let us know and we'll be happy to get one to you. Thanks again for watching.
Apparently, helping me is going to take a little bit longer than we thought. And so, you know, I just have to soldier on. So I'm going to quite patiently allow them to talk about Dark Knight.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, this movie's going to be great.
Yes.
Gentlemen.
I mean, before even the trailers even came about, just hearing the name, The Dark Knight, you know this is in the second movie installment. Granted, they'll say, oh, it's number 6. No, this is the second installment of this new version of Batman. And the way the Joker's coming in here, granted, you know, pay respect to Heath Ledger, I think he looks phenomenal. He taken this role and took it to heart, literally. And sadly, I think, you know, he's not going to get the full praise that I think he's really deserved. Technically he's right up there with Jack Nicholson when he did it, but I think he took it to another level because this Joker just is completely psychotic.
Yeah, it's so different. It's not even the Joker.
but it works though. But it works because
it works as the new cat. Maybe his name is Charlton or Harlequin. I don't know.
But
maybe Barney.
Maybe Barney.
No, I mean, you got to look at it. You got to look at it, and you hope that the executives in charge of this, they don't try to quote take control. Let the creative people who make the movie, let them keep control, because you've got excellent characters, and the setting it's perfect. I mean, they are sticking to the it's dark, you know, there's this sense of there's no hope for humanity going in, and you introduce, well, I always say the reintroduction of characters, and Heath Ledger playing Joker. I mean, when they first started listing the actors playing, I was going like, no, Heath Ledger as Joker? No, what are you doing?
I think he's great.
What are you doing?
I think he's great. I just don't think they gave him the Joker to play. I think he's fantastic, but I don't think he's playing the Joker.
Who do you think he's playing?
I have no idea. Krusty. I gave you some names. I don't know who it is.
No, he's.
Oh, it's the Ultimates Batman. Ah. Oh, Hank Pym and Bugs Bunny. It all becomes clear to me now. I'm sorry.
Give her medicine.
I'm not one for violence, but
Roberto will help you.
You know,
he needed to find the Ghostface Killer first.
Yes, there's always a first time.
I can get a butt whoop. I can take a butt whoop. Heck.
All right.
So,
I still want to mention that it took me to this movie to figure out that Gary Oldman was Jim Gordon.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. I just was like, man, that guy is a great Jim Gordon. And then I watched The Fifth Element like last month, and I was like, well, that's a really scary villain. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's Jim Gordon. I mean, unbelievable job. Like, a great character choice.
Gary Oldman, I've seen him Fifth Element, granted Air Force One. Yeah, and then him being Gordon.
And then The Professional.
Yeah, so, I mean, he has these great. He's a great actor, and I mean, surprisingly enough, this movie can really put in some, I'm going to say Shakespearean acting into it, but it's just it's sort of like you can really see the character. You don't see a person playing, you know, it's like Arnold playing Mr. Freeze. It's and you just got, that's all you got.
That we don't even count Smuggler.
Of course not. Of course not. Well, what I'm saying, but it pretty much
that Batman didn't.
Yeah, that did, of course not. But pretty much what I'm saying is like you really get the character. You don't get some known person to play this role and that's it. You get characters, and these people are playing it I believe to a T until even before I see this movie.
So dare we say like Academy Award nominations out of this film?
Hell to the no. I'm going to play Whitney Houston and say hell to the no.
No, it's still one of those issues where
heck to the no.
I would eventually love to see, comic movies get
their recognition.
Yes.
Yeah, they deserve
the recognition
when they're well written and well acted. I agree.
Well,
and because the movie is, Batman was, which that's what happens with movies. It shouldn't have to be comic book movie or whatever. If it's a great movie, and if it's great acting, it should be nominated. Oh my gosh, we have so little time left. Are there any other films that you guys want to talk about?
Well, do we want to talk about Star Trek?
I know nothing except John Cho is Sulu, which is like mind-boggling.
The trailer's awesome.
Is it awesome?
The trailer's amazing.
Is what the full-length one,
no,
or did that nice little 5-second with the Enterprise?
Working on the ship and stuff, because you have no idea what they're working on.
No. It stinks. Okay.
I think it was a great trailer.
No, the trailer stinks. They're building the ship.
Okay, tell us what happens. Okay, they're building the ship.
That's cool. I never
That's
saw that
it.
before.
I mean,
that's it. What's wrong with that? If you're a true Trekkie, I'm sorry. You're
I'm not,
building
so
the ship
I thought it was
on
cool. So.
Earth.
I know the sad part is like what I've been hearing and reading is like it's just set up to where the continuity is completely off.
Okay, so who's playing who?
A lot of no-namers, except for one person I know is Zoe Saldana playing Uhura.
Okay, who's playing Uhura?
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana is playing Uhura?
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
That's what I'm thinking. And the guy, the villain on Heroes, he's playing Spock.
That's just perfect. He's perfect. Zoe Saldana is just wrong. It should be Nia Long.
Here's what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Maybe directly after the movie or a couple of years after, you're going to have a completely new generation of people that are going to look at this Star Trek and say, hey, this is great. Oh, this is fantastic.
Well, but you have to let that go, though.
That will kill. That's right there is the franchise killer.
There are people out there that think Lottie Dottie was made by like Eric Sermon and Redman. I mean, and Snoop. What are you gonna do? It's just the passage of time. I see what you're saying, and it is kind of sad. Well, who's Kirk?
Well, a lot of the big guys, they're a bunch of no-namers, really. And I just view this as like, if you really truly know the history of the Enterprise, they're trying to treat it like the Enterprise was just built. This is the first time we're building the Enterprise. It's like, no, when we all, most of us, let's put it that way, where the Enterprise came in, it was like technically this ship is 10 years old already. So, and Kirk is the third captain, not the second that everyone thinks it is. So, to pretty much, you know, they're coming in. It really is like, it's like a completely new story. And it's sort of like it's going to be so redone that a lot of people, a lot of Trekkie fans, and a lot of incoming fans who like Next Generation or Voyager and DS9 to be like, what?
Well, but see, that's the problem with directors getting a hold of a property that they don't love. Or not that they should love it, but that they don't respect.
Right.
Because what happens is they just turn it into whatever they decide it needs to be with no regard for the history of the
like you say with
property.
Schmuckmucker. He did the same thing.
So I'll probably like it. And think
but
nothing
you
of
have
it.
to, go ahead.
But I mean, because I've watched Next Generation and stuff like that, and I think Jean-Luc Picard's like a cool dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
he is.
but like that's all I have. That's all my exposure to it. I mean, that show was really kind of like as I was growing up. I mean, I was watching G.I. Joe and Transformers when Star Trek was on, and like I never gave it a second thought. And then I watched Ninja Turtles, and then I watched Power Rangers.
And we're getting a G.I. Joe.
Power Rangers.
Yeah,
We're getting a G.I. Joe movie, which is great.
I just didn't watch. I did not watch Star Trek. I mean, it's totally above me. And I think this movie's going to come out. I'm going to go see it. I'm going to think it's cool. I mean, I have no.
And it may be. I mean, J.J. Abrams does a fantastic 2 acts. Third act, you never know.
I mean, that's what,
You
like,
never
you
know,
got
but-
movies like Indiana Jones and Episode 3, or Episode, like, Revenge of the Sith and all those. I mean, they're made to snare a new generation of people, to boost sales from the old things.
Let's
I'll probably see it
No,
and
I
want to
think,
watch
I
Star
think the
Trek.
second set of Star Wars was done to make you appreciate how good the first set was.
of course.
I think it was like, oh.
But also the taking point is like with the Indiana Jones. Granted, you're trying to bring in the new generation of Indiana, but it's the older
poor way to
generation
bring
where you're focusing on. But I enjoyed Indiana Jones. I mean, I don't know how many people. I've spoken to a lot of my coworkers who are pretty much a little, I would say maybe 10 years old or younger when they saw the last one. But technically, when I, seeing the whole set again before seeing this one, I felt like it's just another storyline. He's a little older. He's still got some.
It's a lot older.
Yeah, a lot older.
But he's still funny.
He's still funny.
He's
still got that that nice little good punch, and I just enjoyed the movie. It was.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how a lot of people will take it down the road though.
Well, okay, so 5
Comic
seconds
adaptation's
apiece.
terrible. Just saying.
5 seconds apiece. What movie are you most looking forward to, starting with Mark?
Oh, come on, The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Hands down.
Hands
Doesn't come out to 2009 or 11 or whatever. Thor. I mean, when that Thor movie comes out, I mean, if it doesn't start with him smashing a giant's face in, and I mean, I don't know. I'm just overwhelmed.
That sounds lovely.
It's gonna be great.
Brian?
It has to be The Dark Knight, and I'm gonna take you with me. I'll pay for everything, the popcorn with extra butter.
Oh, I'm going to be seeing the Danger Mouse movie, which is going to be using leftover footage from Speed Racer for the car. And that's our show. I'm going to go get the rest of my therapy. These guys are going to go talk about Dark Knight and how happy they are, and, we'll see. Yeah, so see ya. Oh, write us. Please write us. And, again, I don't know what the email address is, but it's probably right here, right now.
Yeah.
And we'd like to hear from you and how cute the boys are. And so, well, maybe most of you guys are guys anyway. The ladies out there, write us. Okay, see you. Bye.